Welcome in, guys, to another episode of the Scarves and Spikes rating show. We have just, yes, there it is, the beautiful, wonderful, scientifically proven
whiteboard
ratings manner in which we go through every week and discuss how some of the players did in the previous match. The one we're talking about today is the Atlanta versus NYCFC match, where they went up to Yankee Stadium and came away with a hard-fought point. So, good to have you guys here for this week.
Yes.
Really quick pointing out, and then we'll do our intros. But we got a big guest coming up this coming Wednesday on the live show. Super excited to have Mike Conti from 92.9 The Game, the voice of Atlanta United on the radio. So super excited to have him coming on. So y'all be sure to come on Wednesday at 7 and chat with us and hang out.
I'll be here.
He's got a busy week. He's got the Hawks tomorrow, and then he's got us on Wednesday.
I know.
It'll be a fun time. So, and as usual, guys, make sure y'all are following all three of us, myself, ATL Pilgrim, Sydney at SH Wrights, Tommy at Tommy ATL 96, and then on the Twitter, Scarves, the letter N Spikes. With that being said, let's talk about a baseball game.
Too.
Yes, like and subscribe. All right.
Play ball.
Play ball. We're not quite.
I did really good.
You killed it.
Yeah, you did.
I my phone was dying, and I gave it to Tyler, and then I came back, drank some caffeine, and I was ready to go with some more baseball stuff.
Kept it going for a full 9 innings, plus one, really.
Nope. They make pills to help you go all 9 innings.
All right. And with that,
and let's move.
Here we go. All right, first player that we're gonna pick on again, because we just have to every episode, I think. It's gonna be Thiago Almada.
Oh boy!
And I am ready when you guys are. My rating.
Wow.
Yes.
Took you that long to write 10?
All right, here we go.
So.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, hey.
What? Okay, explain. Okay, real quick. I got a 9. Sydney, what you got?
I put 7.5.
Tommy.
I got a 9. Just kidding.
Don't try to turn it upside down now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll let the lowest person go first here.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm being too harsh, but I felt it was a good performance. I mean, he had the assist on the Giakoumakis goal, who we'll talk about later on. Maybe I'm judging too harshly because of the pitch. But, I mean, it was a good performance. It wasn't like a great performance. It wasn't like an off-the-charts performance by Almada, which is okay. I'm not, like, downing him or anything like that. Like I said, the assist to Giakoumakis with 11 men down gains a few more points in my book. But again, I don't want to seem like it's a negative that I give it a 7.5. He had a strong game. He certainly did have a strong game. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about this particular performance. Could have easily been an 8.
I think that's fair. The only reason why I gave him so high is because I haven't seen us look this good at Yankee Stadium ever. And even in the playoffs game, like I thought that we looked better in this game, especially early on before the red card. You know, it just seemed like we were in control of it, and a lot of it was going to Almada. He was able to work in small spaces, get the ball back, continue to move it forward. And without Almada, I think this team would have been the same old Atlanta United at Yankee Stadium. So that's why I had to give him the 9. I don't, the Olympico, I thought, was he going for the Olympico there? Is that what we thought possible?
I mean, I think on a pitch that size, you might as well try it, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. Like it was a nice try there, and then obviously it led to the goal. So good job for him. And then it was cramping, right? That was his. They said it was cramping. Was his why he was hurting there?
I'm sure we'll find out officially tomorrow. I know they said they were going to get him checked. I mean, it just kind of seemed like a cramp thing because it didn't really look like he had much contact. I mean, right before that he had a pretty good sprint. So you're just kind of hoping maybe it was just a muscles tired kind of thing, and he'll get a little bit of extra relaxation and recovery time at the training ground and be good to go.
Yeah.
So we'll find out tomorrow. And then for anybody listening to this, Monday night, look for it Tuesday. We're going to be at the training ground to bring you guys some other stuff as well. Whatever happens there. By the way, randomly, Grady Jarrett's going to be at the training ground tomorrow. So pointing that out,
Yes.
Don't know why, but that'll be interesting. It'll be Grady Jarrett
Today, if you're watching this on Tuesday,
Yeah.
or yesterday if you're watching this on Wednesday.
There you go.
What about
You should
third?
just follow up on the interwebs wherever you're at.
Yes.
I would like to see more Falcons, Atlanta United crossovers here. I mean, they work together. I mean, same ownership, same stadium, but you're basically sending the captain of the Falcons at this point. He's like their leader. So that's really, I mean, that's huge. I think just to get them starting to have a more united approach.
I like it.
See what you did there?
Like it. Puns of plenty. No, I'll give my quick 2 cents on Almada. I think kind of like what you were saying, Tommy. If Almada had not been playing Saturday night, I don't know that this team would have looked anywhere near as good as they did. Not that anybody else on the pitch just didn't do well, but I think on such a cramped space, Almada is one of the best in the league to play in those tight spaces and make things happen. And I don't want to knock on him too much for a couple of the turnovers that he had because they weren't in dangerous areas, and you kind of expect it from anybody playing on such a small pitch because you're going to get crowded, and other teams are already going to crowd Almada anyway. So I just think without him, the whole team looks worse in this situation, especially. And then you got to give him credit because now New York, I don't know what they were thinking when they allowed Almada like a full 10 seconds to just receive a rebound off of that corner and then just pick out Giakoumakis at the far post, but they did, and they got paid for it. So like, it is what it is, but he provided the assist, added another number to his stats. So I'm here for it.
There was another goal in Atlanta United history. I'm going to have to try to remember. If anyone remembers, put it in the comments, or if you guys know, there was a goal where everybody just stopped on the field, and I swear it had to do with Emerson Hyman. I don't remember what. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Please, somebody, hit the comments. Make me not crazy. But there was a play, and I swear it was off of a corner. I think it was the Nashville game. I'm pretty sure the Nashville game.
Yeah,
in Nashville,
I know the one you're
opening
talking
game.
about. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about, and I was there for that game. I know the one. So
the Joseph injured game where everybody stopped because I don't know if they thought it was offsides or whatever it was, but everybody just stopped and Emerson just hit a banger in. Thanks, Sydney. I'm not crazy.
Well,
I can't remember the sequence, but I do recall because that was the thing about Emerson Hyman in Nashville. Like he just seemed to, in the few times that he played him, he just seemed to play better against them. I always thought, but yeah, that's a good shout. Why you would give somebody like Almada that kind of time, I don't know.
All right.
Speaking of Giakoumakis,
for what it's worth, Almada got an 8.3 on Fight Mob.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
We were closer.
Giakoumakis is the next one.
Who's counting? No, I'm just kidding.
Tommy. Tommy's counting.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty, what you got?
You ready?
0.1, 8.5 for me, 8.1 for Tyler, 7 for Tommy.
Go for it, Tommy. What you got?
His number is 7, and I wanted to give him a 7. I don't know. I mean, he was great. I thought that he did really well out there, especially for the first time. He got a yellow, right? I
Yes,
can't remember that correctly. I don't think that was a yellow.
No.
From there, but he's got to start being a little careful here. We can't go back to the Barry times. We've only had that for a very small time, but he needs to be able to hold back a little bit. I like his physicality, but he's got to be a little bit smarter. But yeah, the goal was great. He was at the right place at the right time.
In his defense on that yellow, first of all, it was a crap yellow. Him going into that challenge would have rightfully been a yellow, but he pulled way out of it before he ever made contact. And the fact that his his knee essentially is what made contact, or his thigh. I just think that's a super soft yellow, especially considering what happened to Brad Guzan like 5 minutes before that when he got absolutely drilled. And I think everybody watching at home and probably everybody at Yankee Stadium thought that here we go again. He's out. He's done, because his reaction just seemed that way. You don't get a yellow for that, but then you go and give a yellow to Giakoumakis for barely sliding into somebody. I was not a fan of that.
Real quick side, a 10 for Brad Guzan and his acting skills, because man, I thought a sniper hit that guy. I said he's done for the year. There's no way. There's another group chat, and I said there's no way Brad Guzan plays for the rest of the season. They weren't watching the game. 2 minutes later, never mind, he's good.
Yeah, he's fine. No, speaking of acting, Giakoumakis, catches apparently elbow to the face, and he just acts like he just knocked back here to Sunday. But yeah, that kind of made me laugh. But yeah, I gave it 8.5. He scored a goal with a man light, which I said on the spaces, it takes a lot for the team to really dig deep and be determined to take the lead, even in adverse circumstances like Ibarra getting the red. And we'll talk about Ibarra a little bit later on. But yeah, it's tough to score a man down. I mean, granted, they did it last year when they came back from 3-1 down to tie a match at home. But, it's just different at Yankee Stadium, where just the field is just so small. You have such little space to attack. So good on Giakoumakis for getting the goal. That's now 3 in as many starts for him. I know Doyle at MLS said, this is a guy that can possibly score 20 in a season. And hopefully that's the case. Hopefully he can be that player for Atlanta United. On the yellow, I mean, may have been weak, but, it is a yellow, unfortunately. And now he has to walk on the tightrope, as Mike Conti calls it. So, that's something that I think Toronto will be looking to bait him into, is another yellow to make him sit for the next match. So, yeah, overall, good to see him get back on the score sheet, and 8.5, mainly because he did get the goal with a man down.
Yeah, I gave an 8.1 for mine, because in the first half I think he was a little uninvolved, is maybe the best word I can come up with, and not for lack of trying, though, because I do feel like he was all over the pitch. But there was a couple times when he won the ball and then kind of quickly gave up possession because of whatever reason, just kind of maybe a sloppy touch or whatever. And just, I don't think he was as clean maybe as he wanted to be, but just the sheer fact that he was out there pressuring, defenders and making them work and making them think, I think that is a lot of what threw them off, is a lot of what threw the Yankees off their game. But yeah, I mean, I just think, you get a goal, you do it with a man down. You're now 3 in a row. You're doing your job as a striker. You're finding a way to do it. And his mentality of, even if the game's not going his way, to then turn around and find the back of the net somehow or another, speaks volumes to his whole mindset as a striker. And I love it. I love what I see out of him. So
he's
good on you.
He's done it different every time.
Yeah,
like he's scoring in different ways.
Absolutely.
Apropos of nothing, Joseph Martinez is goalless so far in the MLS season.
He is, and
I'm getting
I already had it written.
I'm getting stoned for that statement on Twitter. I already know it. So
it's an Easter egg.
It is
0.
Look at that.
There's an article on MLS.com about Joseph Martinez. Go read it. It's not good.
Well, quoting Inter Miami's coach, he has to play better.
Yep.
I mean, he's not. They're not wrong. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Again, love Joseph to death, but
yeah, exactly.
You gotta play better. Gotta score.
So, yeah. So, what's Yako's score on Fat Mob there?
He hit a 7.9. So, kind of right there aligned with where we were at.
Okay.
So, with that, moving on, we are looking at the man of the hour, Franco Ibarra.
Literally.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, he got sent off after an hour, right? Was that the 59th minute or something like that? When was he sent off?
Yeah, right at an hour.
All right. I'm ready when you guys are.
All right.
All right. What you got? All right. 6.2 plus a punch is what I got. Sydney, 7.5. And Tommy, would you care to explain?
Sure. On Twitter, I forget who it was. They asked us to rank him while he was on before the red card and after. So before the red card, I gave him a 7.3. After the red card, I gave him a 0. I almost gave it a 1 because, you know, they had that mentality that they had to keep up the physicality and keep it moving. So on the, you know, he was there emotionally on the field. So I probably should have gave him at least a 1 with the red, but whatever. I'm sure he'll get another red, and we can talk about this later in the season because this guy's going to get another red.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Hate to be without him against Toronto, but some would say it was a bit of a lucky red, but I think it was the right call in that situation. Like his studs were up, went right into stands, whether he did it inadvertently or not. He has to be more careful. And yeah, his night came to an end, and again, he will be not with the team when they take on Toronto, which is unfortunate because I thought he had a pretty good game overall, especially given the fact that, again, Yankee Stadium is just so unique and such a frustrating experience. But I thought he handled himself well in the time that he was on the field. But again, it's just unfortunate that his studs do come up in that situation against Sands. So it's where we are, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think so. Yeah, 62nd minute is when he got the red card.
Yeah.
That was about after 2 or 3 minutes of
VAR.
VAR check and giving random people on the sideline, Rossetto, yellow cards, and then having to fix everything. And yeah, it was a cluster of a situation. James Sands was not faultless in the situation either, but by the book and by the way that the tackle happened, you have to give a red card to Ibarra in that situation. Studs up, high on the ankle, it's going to get you every time for sure. It's unfortunate. Now you get Sosa, I think, back in the starting 11, and he's going to have to, provide what Ibarra has been providing all season. So I think the onus is on him to come back and make sure the fans and the coaching staff see that he can do just as well. But Ibarra is just that kind of guy. He's a destroyer. He is going to be back there targeting folks in a good way. I don't mean that like a negative way, but he's a hitman, and he did a little bit too much hitting this time around, and he got sent off for it. So it'd be what it be. I'm not mad at him, really. I mean, I love what I've seen out of him this season, and that's not going to change. So for his part, though, FOTMob gave him an even 6, which is actually, I'm kind of surprised that's still relatively high.
Yeah.
I think, considering the red card. And kudos on the team for immediately doing what they had to do. Pineda made the right switches. The team kept the mindset, and they went and got a goal.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't have anything to add, but I would say I'm very excited to rate Sosa next week. This is a huge game for him because Ibarra has done nothing to lose his job at all. And still a surprise that, Sosa was suspended to start the year. So Ibarra got the job and hasn't lost the job. And this is a huge game coming up for Sosa. So that he's a must for rating next week.
Credit to no one on the team for touching Drew Fisher during the VAR check, by the way.
Oh,
yeah.
I love Martin Caceres from LA Galaxy, who have plenty of issues of their own, which is another.
Can you say his name again?
Martin Caceres.
Man, I always hear people say I forget Eric Quintana from Mouths to South, used to say Almiron, it was beautiful. And I can't say any names cool. I just say Jurgen Damm. I don't even know if there's a fancy way of saying it, but I'm just so jealous that you could say that name so cool.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I'm gonna rate you a 9.
Thanks.
Eric Quintana's still a 10.
Yeah.
For Almiron, but I'm gonna give you a 9.
Thank you.
I like it. You had a little bit of Hispanic come out of there.
Yeah.
It was good. All right. Moving on to the next one. It's going to be I don't know if we've hit on him much already in our ratings, but the wall himself, Brad Guzan.
I dropped my Sharpie. I'm going to pick it up.
Don't use a Sharpie. It won't erase.
Well, my erasable marker. dry erase mark, I should say. Not a little Sharpie.
Yeah, we don't need to have to take a halftime break here to give you some cleaner to get rid of a Sharpie on your wonderful ratings board that we have. Yeah. These things are expensive.
I know.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
Sure.
All right, 7.4 for me.
8
Sydney?
for me.
8, yeah. Tommy?
All right, so I gave this is like a Madden card here with stats. I gave him a 10 for acting, a 7.8 in keeping, and 9 for having that dog in him because, like I said, when he went down there, like it just looked bad. Yeah. And then like you didn't know what was wrong with him, right? Like was it his shoulder? Like was it his elbow? Because like it looked like he was like they were looking at his elbow at first, and then it was like the knee and the ankle, and I didn't know what was going on. But man, he got right back up and beautiful.
Yeah, give him an 8. He conceded the goal. Well taken strike though, by Pereira, I think it was the score.
Yeah. Beautiful shot.
Really well taken strike. So is a goal conceded, even though I don't know if I fault him completely for it, as much as it was just a great strike from Pereira. So at the same time, I still gave it an 8. I thought he commanded the team well defensively. They did lose their goal, like I said. I think he was a big part of that. So another strong performance. And Tommy, like you were saying, good to see that he's not seriously injured, because my heart just kind of dropped when I saw him laying on the floor, just banging the ground. Just scary, but good to see that he's okay.
That's exactly what Miles did when he went down. He started banging on the ground. Like that's the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
Yeah, my whole family was watching in our living room, and when he went down, even my wife was like, "Oh no, he's out. He's done." Because it was, you don't see him react that way, and you've seen Guzan take some pretty hard hits in his time, including last week. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the Spaces show, but last week he was getting hammered in the head, and he'll go down. I mean, of course, but he'll get right back up and be at it. But the fact that he was down, punching the ground, kind of rolling, you heard him scream on the broadcast. Mm-hmm. And then, it was like, where did he get hit at? Did he get hit in the leg? Did he get hit in the knee, thigh? Did he just take some studs to the leg somewhere, which freaking hurts, and you feel like it's the end of the world when it happens? And I still don't know, but the trainers came out and checked on him, and I think he just needed a minute, because sometimes that's what you need. It's like when you get the wind knocked out of you, you just need a minute. So thankfully he's good. I gave him my rating, because the goal happened. I can't really fault him too much on that. It was really more so a great shot by Pereira, and B, the off the ball running that the rest of the team did in the box, which wasn't much, but it was enough to draw defenders away to open up that lane for Pereira to shoot. So, it happens. He saw it, he read it the whole way. He just couldn't quite get a fingertip on it, and it be what it be. But I thought it was a solid performance. I'm just glad he's not hurt. All right. With that,
the final rating for Guzan before you go to their final topic.
What's that?
What's the FOT Mob rating before we go to the final topic?
FOT Mob gave him a 6.9.
6.9.
Yeah. Not what it was. And
nice.
Wildly, his on the year is a 6.51. They shafted him on the Columbus game, like really shafted this guy, because he just got left out to dry on so many of those goals, and they gave him a 3.5. That's not fair. All right. So the final one we're going to do for the day is going to be, and I feel like it's becoming a running theme, and I think for Pineda it's becoming a running theme as well. But we're going to talk about the refs.
Do you think Pineda and Rooney start their own ref you suck group on Twitter? Facebook group, and then they just trash talk, and just then they both
crap about them.
Are they gonna get fined?
Minnesota, same day.
Has Rooney been fined?
I'm sure Rooney's probably been fined a handful of times. I don't know, but I would imagine, because he went in on them this time, especially talking about how they're basically out to get DC. Good for Wayne.
Play better, just a suggestion.
Sydney coming in hot. Yeah, I mean it's one thing, you can't really talk much crap when you're not playing that well, but
Yeah.
I get it in Atlanta's case. There's just some wild calls this season. But all right, trying to figure out how I want to word this.
Okay.
I'm just going to write this, and it's going to be in an accent. You guys can figure out what it is.
I'm ready. We get to hear Sydney's accent again?
I'm ready.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Here we go.
Oh, I see.
I love it. All right.
Mine is Tommy has a angry face, and Tyler has the word sheet, SHEET on it, which said a different way can be a 4-letter profanity.
Sometimes it's cheat.
Do you like? I understand Guzan's been holding the ball a little too close for comfort, like, and I think that's why players are running in. Like, I don't know, like he's definitely playing around with the ball a little too much, like playing it too close for comfort here. But there's got to be a point where you start protecting. If you're not giving anything to the other team, like a yellow for something like that, it's going to keep happening, and you have to protect your players. And I think that's been one of Pineda's big things is like, you know, we don't get the respect, and you know, it's Atlanta United. Like, sorry DC, like I know what you're going through right now, but like this isn't, you know, the 90s or whatever. Like this is 2023, right? Yeah, and Atlanta United's still like one of the most popular teams. Like, you've got to protect players, and that was just an absolute silly, like, not to do anything there with that. And it's just going to take him getting knocked out for an injury long term for them to all of a sudden say, hey, you know what, we got to start protecting the keepers more. Like it was that was the most upsetting thing. Like, I know the yellow, we talked about the yellow with Giakoumakis. Okay, we talked about the red with Ibarra. Like, both of those I could see go possibly either way, but as far as running into the keeper like that, I just don't. I think that was the biggest thing that's upset me over the last couple of weeks with the refs.
Yeah, I think across the board, I think we can all agree that the refereeing needs to be more consistent on a weekly basis. I feel like it's very arbitrary and relative based on whoever is officiating the match from week to week. And I think that's a lot of frustration among coaches. You know, we talk about Rudy. I think it's more frustration out of the way the club is playing right now in DC's case. Heath, I mentioned before, he stopped and shy about giving the refs some words and writing paychecks to the league because of it. I think Pineda last week chose his words very carefully when it came to what he felt about the refereeing and the officiating. Maybe not so much this week. He was a little bit more explicit, and not in the profanity sense, but a little more out front, you know, saying, you know, Fisher needs to be more consistent. And I suspect that the league, you know, will fine him for those comments. But, you know, the respect thing is something that he's brought up twice in 2 weeks. And Sam Jones, good friend Sam Jones from Five Side Final, has mentioned this as well. That's kind of been a theme from Pineda. Say, like, Atlanta United have to demand respect from the league. And to your point, Tommy, you know, Atlanta United are looked at as a big club. I mean, they draw among the most attention league-wide out of any club. So I feel like it's more of a narrative thing and a more internal thing that Pineda is saying, you know what, the league has really not grown tired of Atlanta United, but they've kind of faded. I feel like he thinks that's a perception. I think that's where he's going. He feels that Atlanta United really need to reestablish itself as one of the premier teams in MLS and really in North America. So I think that's kind of where he's coming from. But I definitely agree that there needs to be a lot more consistency as far as officiating in this league. We saw it with Vanny last week with the handball, and then this week with Rooney, his comments. But yeah, I think I can see where he's coming from to some extent.
Yeah, and I'll throw this out there really quick, and it's on DirtySouthSoccer.com is the article I do after every match. So go check it out. It's just the quotes article and kind of what was said after the game and a recap. But what he said specifically, it was asked about his conversation with Drew Fisher. If you watched it on Apple TV, which I'm assuming most people did because it was away, you actually see the conversation after the fact on the broadcast. But he said We just talked about specific situations that I disagree on. If that's a fine, he said, then it's welcomed. He said the referees always respond the same way. They are always right. It's what they always say. He said, I went very respectfully, and he said he is always right. This is the answer that you always get when you complain about certain calls, and that's the frustration we have. It's never, yes, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. And that, I think, is important because we've said it on the spaces last year a lot. I remember distinctly the match against Miami in Miami last year where Brooks Lennon went down on a clear as day penalty, and it wasn't given. Wasn't even, and it was just very frustrating because it was so clear as day, so plain. And the way that Jair Marufo handled that, and even this season, we've had a couple of bad calls where they were asked after the fact at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they just give the answer, essentially saying, "Oh, well, you're wrong." And it's like, okay, well. Yeah. And I put it in the article. If there's never any kind of accountability for pro refs in this league, it's never going to change. If there's never any kind of punishment for a ref completely blowing a call, it's never going to change. And I think a lot of that is also where Pineda's trying to get. And it's frustrating, and I totally get where he's coming from.
Yeah. I can see, though, where the referees are very hesitant to say, okay, we blew this call. I mean, the NBA, I feel like you see in some cases where the officials say, we got it wrong. I feel it's a little bit different in soccer because you don't want to see yourself as incompetent. I mean, fans probably do anyway, but you don't want to. Yeah, you want to carry on that narrative that you're incompetent, that you don't know how to do your job. So I think that's where they're coming from. That being said, Tyler, I think you're absolutely right. There needs to be more accountability as far as officiating is concerned in this league. And like you said, if pro don't step it up and pro don't implement more accountability, it's going to keep snowballing. And it's not just pro, it's overseas as well. So
pro don't know. Pro don't know.
I like it. We'll start that.
I don't care if you're... But like, I hear what you guys are saying, but like, I don't care if it's Atlanta or it's Vancouver, Montreal, like the least amount of people that go to some of these teams. If you're not protecting your players, it's gonna be noticed, and players are gonna get frustrated. Players are already getting frustrated with these refs, left and right. So, I mean, again, that's my biggest thing here is that you just have to look out. And with the Ibarra thing, if that was them looking out, for the player, cool, but you didn't do it for Brad. Did they give him a yellow in the last game when they ran into him? I thought they did.
Have to look back.
I can't remember. Honestly, I don't recall.
I think they did on that one.
But that's what goes back to the consistency argument, right? Like,
right.
It's just all over the place. And Pineda even mentioned that too. Like, how can you give Giakoumakis a yellow for what he did and not give the one for what happened to Brad? That's just wild. So
yeah, I can see that.
It's crazy. And I do think, last point, I understand like not wanting to make yourself seem incompetent, but I actually think it would go a long way with the fans and the coaches and the players to just come in. Now, granted, they sometimes do on their Twitter account. I'm not taking that away from them, but I mean to come out and say, all right, we got this call wrong, kind of like the NBA does at this point in the match, and we're sorry, whatever. Like, we screwed up. We know you're not perfect.
Right.
We know that. We get it. We love the fact that VAR can fix some things, but it can't fix everything. Just own up to your screw up and move on and be consistent. That's my only thing.
Just remember, refs, we are the Manchester United of MLS, and Manchester United gets one PK per game. So just let's make sure that Atlanta United gets one PK per game, and we're okay.
All will be forgiven.
I don't know about Manchester United. At least LA United have won something in the past 7 years. So.
All right.
On that note,
got him.
Oh, my heart.
I'm going to go back to watching Arsenal.
Sorry, Tommy.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right. With that, that is it for our ratings episode for this week. We will be back Wednesday for the live show with Mike Conti of 92.9 The Game. So y'all come join us. Let your friends know. Come join us. Like and subscribe. We would appreciate that. And it'll be a good time. And this weekend, Toronto, if you are on the Patreon, come join us. And if you're not on the Patreon, come join us there.
Come join us.
Come join us
Yes.
on the watch along, where we're going to have a good time. We're going to have some Canadian food and drinks and talk crap about Toronto and hopefully win against Toronto.
It's what it's all about.
It's all good. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will
Go
see you
Hawks.
next week.
Yes. See you guys.